All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And good evening, one and all. Welcome back to the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and for the next 2 hours, I am your host. I am your guide as together we will cross this time-space continuum to a place that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until midnight right here from the broadcast center and studios of the X Zone Broadcast Network in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. And we're also broadcasting on the Mutual Broadcast Network and the Talkstar Radio Network. And in Canada, on AM 1220 CFAJ AM in St. Catharines, Ontario, on the AM radio side. And one of our main affiliates in the United States is WVEX in Midland, Michigan. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone at xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, Xzone Radio TV. My first guest tonight, X-Zone Nation, is Mary Jane Allen, and we're going to be talking to her because she is an evidential medium, and we're also going to be talking to her about what it's like to be a person who actually communicates with spirits. Joining me now from Bridgewater, Nova Scotia, a fellow Canadian, Mary Jane Allen. And Mary Jane, welcome to the X-Zone.
Rob, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here tonight.
It's great having you with us. Tell us about yourself. When did you decide, or when was it discovered that you were a medium?
Well, it's been a bit of a journey, I have to say. I have not done an interview in a while, so pardon me, I'm a bit nervous.
No problem. Just imagine the two of us are sitting down having a coffee at Tim Hortons.
That sounds perfect.
There you go.
Honestly, I was a very sensitive child, and I remember, always being on high alert and not feeling safe in the world. And the one person who made me feel safe was my paternal grandfather. And unfortunately, it was all planned, of course, but unfortunately he died when I was 5. And my first mediumship experience happened the day of his funeral. Brother and I were taken to my grandparents' home the day of my grandfather's funeral, and I thought I was going in to see him, and I was always excited to do that. And as soon as I went in, I saw that this house was full of people in suits and skirts, and it was very formal. And the serious problem, was I couldn't find my grandfather, and I couldn't understand what was happening. And as my grandma was trying to explain to me that my grandfather was gone somewhere, and not coming back, I knew not true, because he was on my right-hand side. And I was desperately, a 5-year-old, trying to hold his hand, because that's how we were together. Whenever we went somewhere, he always had me by the hand. And he was my person, and I felt safe with him. And so as I'm being told he's gone somewhere, he's beside me. And, I still remember that to some degree, but I had so traumatic at the time, and I couldn't understand what was happening. And, I knew that I couldn't get a hold of his hand, and he looked different. And, I didn't like the way he looked. I remember that. And but it still felt like him. And, that essentially, I did some sort of, well, it was very traumatic, and I essentially blocked my mediumship abilities because it was just such a shock. And I just had no concept of what had happened. And it took many years for me to realize, what had taken place that day. I could never really grieve his death. It took me many, many years to get over it. And it wasn't until I think I was in my early 40s, and I had an Akashic record attunement because I knew that I was on a spiritual path. I just found, everyday life and the work that I had been doing was very meaningless to me. It had no depth, and I really wasn't helping anyone with what I was doing. I didn't feel like I was making much of a difference. And I started working with spiritual mentors, teachers, and I took an Akashic Records class to learn to read the Akashic or the soul records. And shortly after I had the attunement for the Akashic Records class, I really wasn't sure what to expect, but I came home from shopping one day, and literally I had groceries in my hand, and I felt an urgency to go into my living room and log on to my computer. I didn't know why, but as soon as I went through the dining room with all of these groceries in my hand, I saw my grandfather lying on my sofa in the living room. So,
Whoa.
yeah. So needless to say, I dropped all the groceries, and there was a big mess on the floor. Eggs were smashed, oranges were rolling all over the floor, and I think it was a combination of screaming and crying because I had seen my best friend again, and he was back after many, many years. And I felt like I had won the lottery, but yet I was thinking, what is going on, and why is this happening to me? It was just such a strange experience.
Now, when you say you saw your grandfather lying on your couch, what did he look like? Was it, and I don't mean to bring up awkward memories for you, but was it as if he was laying in a casket, or was it just as if he was laying asleep on your couch?
He was wide awake.
And he was wide awake.
Yeah, it was as if he was just simply resting. Basically, he knew certainly that I was coming in, and he needed to talk to me. That's what was happening. And
Wow.
I was making such a lot of noise, and I was, so emotional, and just like, is that you? I mean, what are you doing here? All of this craziness was taking place. And he calmed me down by telling a funny story that had happened that I had completely forgotten about he and my grandmother. One time my grandma was taking a nap on their sofa in their den, and she had her glasses on the floor, and he was telling me, reminding me that he had stepped on the glasses, and it had taken years for my grandma to ever let this go, basically. And he was saying, okay, he called me little girl. He said, little girl, don't come too close to the coach because I have my glasses on the floor and you don't want to step on those. You know what they're like. And it just brought back the memories of that story from so many years ago. And I thought, oh my God, what is happening to me? So that was kind of the beginning, Rob.
My goodness. When you were talking to your grandfather, was it as if you could hear him audibly, or was it through the communication through your middle eye?
I could see him clearly, and I could hear him. It's the clairaudience that I.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like if you were in the room, you wouldn't have heard him. It was through my clairaudience. So, but he was using words and speaking in a way that I would not speak, and just the messages that he was sending, they were not something that I would have expected. So I knew that this was not me with a brain tumor or losing my mind. it in fact was my grandfather. So yeah, that
Did,
was.
now, after seeing your grandfather again after all these years, did this bring you final closure?
It was the beginning of it.
Okay.
It took a while, to be honest with you. As soon as I saw him, and I laugh when I think
Hmm.
about it, because it had taken me so long to, and I had known on some level that I'd see him again before I left this planet. And I have no idea. I didn't know what that meant, what that looked like, but intuitively I knew that I was going to somehow see him again. Anyhow, here he was. And, once I saw him and we started communicating that day when he was lying on the sofa, I realized, oh God, well, he's going away again. I'm not going to be able to sleep. Can I even close my eyes? I'm not sure what's going to happen tonight. You know, I went into a panic, and then he reassured me he was not going. He was going to always be there. Whenever I focused on him, he would be there. And sure enough, it was true. So that was the beginning of the healing for me around his death. Yeah.
That's very warming to hear of such a wonderful thing happening after all those years.
Yeah.
I could only imagine coming home and walking into the living room and seeing my mom, who passed away, laying on the couch. I would be in shock. I would be in awe.
Mm.
And yet it would be such a heartwarming experience.
Yeah, it truly was. I think for me, it was the most healing thing that I could have ever happened
Hmm.
to me. And I was, just, had a spiritual mentor at the time. I was telling her about it, and I don't, I don't feel like there's something wrong with me. And just relaying the
Sure.
messages that he had said, and she said, no, it means you're a medium. This is the beginning of your development. And anyway, it was like winning the lottery. It was just the best thing that I could have imagined having happened, yet I couldn't have seen it coming. Yeah.
Mary Jane, please stand by. Exo Nation, Mary Jane Allen is our special guest. And we're talking about her mediumship. And her website is maryjallen.com. Whether you're a believer, Exo Nation, or whether you're a skeptic, until you have the experience yourself, or until someone that you really, really trust has that experience, there are times when what we talk about here on the Exxon, you're going to have a problem believing. But this is why I say it's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. After all these years doing this, I have heard so much that it is very hard for me to doubt that all these guests that we have are telling me anything but the truth. We'll be back on the other side of this commercial break as the X Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. Check us out online at www.xzbn.net and Classic 1220. And it's streaming at classic1220.ca.
Have you got cheating on your mind? Something's wrong between us that your laughter cannot hide, and you're afraid to let your eyes meet mine. And lately, when I love you, I know you're not satisfied. Woman, woman,
Exonation, Mary Jane Ellen is our special guest, and she is an evidential medium in Bridgewater, Nova Scotia. And we were talking in the first segment about how her mediumship was developing. And I will tell you something, Exonation. I've been listening to these psychics and mediums who come on the show and tell their story, and I get email from very few people say, "Oh, come on, Rob, how can you believe it?" Da 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 da. And my reply to these people is very simple. I was not there. But when you hear the story of the event from these people, there is no way that you can doubt what they're saying. Just imagine walking home with groceries in your arms, and you get a sudden urge to go and turn your computer on into your living room, and there lying on the couch is a departed loved one. How would you react? What would you think? What would you do? Please have some empathy and put yourself in the position that these psychics and mediums put themselves in all the time. There are many who do not have a choice in life in becoming a medium or a psychic. So we have to listen with our hearts when it comes to certain things in life. Not everything is black and white. And Mary Jane, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much, Rob.
Are you okay?
Hear me okay?
I hear you okay. I was asking you if you're okay because I just wanted to know if I heard a quivering in your voice.
Oh.
And I just want to make sure that you're all right.
I'm okay. Actually,
Okay.
I think it was the connection. There's a bit of a delay or something. But thank you. There was a quivering earlier, but I'm doing fine. Thank you.
What do you feel the purpose of mediumship is?
With all of the experiences I've had, I seriously feel that it's about healing grief. That's probably number one for me, because there is nothing, grief, I think for most people is one of the most painful that can happen in this physical life. And, there is nothing like sitting down with someone, a client, a sitter, and connecting to someone that they really need to hear from and getting extremely specific, very personal information from the person who has departed, or the spirit communicator, as they're also called, and seeing the look on the client's face when you present this information. It's still, it's just such a feeling of gratitude for me, because I know what it means to people, and I've seen it. I've seen that look so many times. And there really is nothing like it, because it's telling the person that their loved one is still with them. They're not gone away. They're not up in some far and distant land. They're just, and I'm connecting to them. And, when you give someone really specific evidence, personal information, personal evidence, such as, for example, words that were on someone's tattoos, those kinds of things really make people know immediately for a fact that you have their person. And, it's such a comfort for people.
You say that death is just a change. How would you explain that to someone who has never had the opportunity of speaking to a medium before, or having ever heard of the experience that you have had?
It's hard to explain to people, but I think, if you have a reading with a medium and you get really good evidence, really personal, detailed evidence, it shows you that we don't cease to exist simply because we have left our physical body. And, yes, the body has been shed, but yet we are still an essence, and we are still we're still with our loved ones. And it simply requires either a medium or people. We all have the ability to some degree quiet our minds so that we can communicate with our loved ones, because they are right here with us. They're in the same space as
Mhm.
we are. It's just they're in a different form. That's all it is. It's a change, and the spiritualist church refers to it as a change rather than a death, because really we never cease to exist. They are eternal, and these pieces of information that come from a good communication from a spirit communicator be so specific and so on target that people know immediately that yes, their loved one is not only doing well,
Mhm.
but this is what they have to tell them, and this is who they were as a person. So many kinds of information can come through that really is all about showing people that no, I'm still here. I'm just in a different form. I'm still with you.
Has there ever been a time when someone has come to you to communicate with someone on the other side, and you've made the connection, and the person on the other side says, "No, I don't want to talk to them"? Mm-mm.
Um, my experience with that is if that does happen, it has happened a few times, but it's usually the way I am feeling, or it's frequent. And it sometimes can be the question I'm asking. That also can be the case. I remember one man. I had a reading, and this was just when I was first starting, because I had no idea what was happening, and I was guided to do free readings on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a bunch of people connect saying they wanted, I was practicing and they wanted a reading. And this lady gave me the first name of a man she wanted to connect. And that time I was so nervous about doing readings, and the communicators would come to my apartment before, like earlier in the day, and give me a piece of evidence so that I could then have the confidence to start the reading later, which does not happen now. But anyway, this man came to me, and I said, "Oh, okay, you are here. May I presume that you are here? This lady's reading later tonight." And he confirmed yes. I, not having a clue what I was doing, asked him how he died, and he turned his back on me. So
Wow.
I thought, oh, this is going well. Um, so anyway, I apologized and I said, I'm sorry. I'm very new, as you know, and I really didn't know that I wasn't supposed to ask you that. And essentially, he then gave me two pieces of very specific evidence that when I told them to the sitter, the client, that evening, she immediately was in tears because she knew exactly that I had her loved one. Um, but some people don't want to start, some communicators do not want to start with how they died because it may not be what they want to remember. It's maybe not a something that they want to revisit, but it came out later as to how he died.
Do all those that you communicate with on the other side know that they've died? Are there any of those who are still trying to wonder what in the world has happened to them?
I have not had that experience. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I've heard of that. I've heard of other people having some experiences like that. But for me, all of the communication I have had come through in readings, all are well aware that they are transitioned, as we say, out of the physical body. And, they sometimes will talk about, what it's like there for them. The client will very often have questions about that, maybe what they're working on. Sometimes, they will even apologize for things that they did during their life that they
Mm-hmm.
want um, sitter or the client to know. There can be regret. But yeah, they all the ones I've communicated with are well aware that they are, out of their body, and that this is their opportunity, their moment to speak to the one they love. Yeah.
Have they told you what it's like on the other side, wherever they are?
Um, I get different bits. Um, I think what I can say is that people feel much lighter.
Hmm.
They don't have the worry that they had here. That I've heard from several communicators. I do get the feeling, though, and I've had this message come across more than once, that um, some of them have a lot of work to do. And I think we all do something between lifetimes. I don't know a lot about it, but what I've also heard is that basically where they are is sort of how they lived in life. What they loved is
Hmm.
around. Like, for example, if you love animals, there are a lot of animals with them. It's just it's basically the truest essence of ourselves, and I feel like that message has come through in different ways, if that makes sense. But
Yes.
it's who we are, in our deepest sense. Yeah.
What is it like knowing that you are here on this realm, in this reality, this existence, and you have a gift that goes beyond the real into another dimension, another plane where you can actually make this connection? That you are, in fact, a human conduit.
Well, as I was development, as I said, I had no idea what I was doing, of course,
Hmm.
because this came to me. I look, people feel they want to become a medium, and they go to it.
Yeah. All right, please stand by. We're having a bit of audio problems right now, and we're going to take a break now, and our producer will be working with you to overcome the issues. But until then, this is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. Our guest this hour is Mary Jane Allen, and she is in Bridgewater, Nova Scotia. And if you'd like to find her online, maryjallen.com. And her Facebook page is facebook.com, mary.j.allen.100. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. Mary Jane and I will be back on the other side of this break, so whatever you do, don't go away. You're listening to us on the X Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, and Mutual Broadcast Network. Please visit us online at www.xzbn.net, where you're going to be able to listen to any of the great number of shows that we produce with our compliments. I'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
Something's wrong between us that your laughter cannot hide, and you're afraid to let your eyes meet mine.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell. Mary Jane Allen is our special guest, and she is an evidential medium. And if you'd like to contact Mary Jane Allen for a personal one-on-one reading, her website is maryjallen.com, or you can follow her on Facebook at mary.j.allen.100. For those with questions, what could they expect when getting a reading from a medium?
Um, it's different for each medium, of course, but
Hmm.
usually, Rob, what someone can expect is for the medium to talk about how they work. I think it's really important for people, especially for someone who's had a mediumship reading and someone who is in grief, certainly. Um, Mediums all work differently. I personally use clairsentience or the clear feeling a lot, which means that when I communicate with a deceased loved one, I am blending my energy with their energy, which is what we do as mediums, but I am feeling a lot into who that person was. Um, I also use clairvoyance, so although I don't see faces really typically very
Mm-hmm.
clearly, I see the body type, the hair, the style of clothing. Um, so, people generally, mediums generally talk about, how they work, and they also should be saying to you, don't tell me anything, because you really don't want to know. As a medium, I think most mediums would say, I'm going to be giving you some information as it comes through, and I will ask you whether you can take the information or whether you understand it or not. And then you move on from there. But you want someone to just simply say yes, no, or maybe, or I don't know, essentially. So, um, you know, it's best just to let the medium do most of the talking,
Mm-hmm.
because you want the evidence to come through, and they will then keep checking with you, or they should keep checking with you to see whether you can take the information they're giving you, whether you understand it.
How long should someone wait before they go to see a medium after someone has passed?
When I was first in development, I used
Mm-hmm.
to hear different people saying, well, you shouldn't have a reading for 2 weeks or 2 months or some period of time, because the spirit is not to talk. And when I started to really develop, I purchased some one of the tutors at Arthur Finlay College. He was talking about that, and um, the truth of it is, as soon as someone transitions, they can communicate with. The only hesitation I have, and my caution to in grief, is to see whether you are ready, because spirit will always be ready for you. Your loved ones very much want to communicate with you and give you messages, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the case. But it's us on this side. How are we doing with our grieving? Sometimes, if people are not in a position, if they're still in very deep grief, they may not be ready for a reading, because it can be overwhelming, the information coming through, and it can be very jarring. And are they ready to receive confirmation from their loved one, and knowing that they are, in fact, still with them, and are they ready for the information that can come through, essentially. So it's more about the person receiving the reading than the spirit on the other side. They're hanging out and ready to you, basically. It's just us in the body, sort of, where are we, are we ready
Mm-hmm.
for.
Have you ever been asked to try and communicate with a child that has just crossed? And how does this affect you personally?
Someone who has just crossed.
A child.
A child. Well, I have had not a great many readings, but I've had readings with grieving parents, and I must say, the first one that I had, I still remember it. Um, it was, honestly, been a year since their child had transitioned,
Mm-hmm.
and this was the first reading of this kind that I had done, and I was extremely nervous about it. Yet I knew I had to do it. And I had booked it sort of, I think it was sort of a week or 10 days out. And I was preparing myself, and I was receiving information from um, throughout the 10 days that had led up to the reading. Um, Even specific information, such as, I was out walking, and I had a very, a horrific sensation in my body. I thought I was not okay. But it was this young person showing me, this is how I died. And this will happen with me. Often get the feeling in our body of what was happening to them as they were transitioning. Um, And, to be honest with you, the reading, uh, it was it was a great jump for me. It was a big test of faith for me. It was very healing for them. They reached out to me afterwards. It was extremely emotional for both of them. I think it was very draining, but a lot of evidence came through. They knew exactly that I had their child. There was no question. There were a lot of very specific pieces of information. And I was extremely grateful for having had the experience and also for the healing that I was told it brought them. And I could see it in their faces.
Oh my gosh.
But it was very draining. I can. The first one was really tough, especially with two parents. Two people in heavy grief. It's a lot, to be honest with you. But I was extremely grateful to have had the privilege for their child for them.
How do you prepare yourself for these readings and afterwards? It must be very draining on you, both physically as well as psychologically. So how do you get back to a proper state of being you?
Yeah. Well, I've just decided, I kind of just, I know, okay, I have a reading tomorrow or something. And
Hmm.
I have to do a lot of mindfulness. Like for me, mindfulness is extremely important because I've spent a lot of my life, especially my childhood and teenage years, not in my body because I really wasn't comfortable with the life that I was living. I was anxious, very sensitive, and I was off the eaters, literally. And, so me being very present, and I do a lot of mindfulness exercises. Meditation is very important for me. Going out walking is very important for me. Just the physical activity, I need that. Yes, I have to prepare physically and I have to prepare emotionally and certainly to make sure I'm well grounded and very present. So it's a process, to be honest with you, and I go through it to some degree before I see every person.
Wow. What should a person do who wants to have a communication with someone who is on the other side? How should they prepare for the reading?
Um, Honestly, it's similar to the way I prepare. One of the things I always say to people is just try to be very open in your
Hmm.
mind, just be open to whatever comes through. Because if you set certain expectations that, I will hear from my Aunt Jean, first, and then I will hear from so and so second, it may not be the case. And it's better just to let spirit take the lead, essentially. So, being very open to whatever comes through. I always say, please ground yourself well, maybe eat something before the reading or go
Right.
for, do something that makes you feel good. And I also, of course, caution people to please, and I'm happy to record readings for people. But if someone does not want a recorded reading or if they're getting another reading, I always think it's really important to have a pen and paper and also lots of tissue because almost always there will be releasing of emotion. And I always, because it's super important in terms of the healing aspect of things. So, those are kind of my tips. And I think that probably the first one is just remaining open to anything that comes through. And also knowing that as well that, sometimes a piece of evidence will come through and, you may not be able to understand it immediately, but very often you will in the next couple of days. It's something that you will remember. And yeah, so that happens as well. So just being open, you know.
How long does one of your readings take?
Well, I tend to not watch the time to as much as I should.
Hmm.
Usually, I think an average reading is about 45 minutes, but I can go over an hour just simply because it depends on the needs of the client and the needs of the communicator. and whether or not more than one communicator is coming through. The nature of the reading, the relationship between the communicator and the sitter. There are so many things, but I don't like rush anything. I like to, bring in evidence, obviously, at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and then the person will often have questions, and
Sure.
it's just a matter of, going through questions until they feel comfortable, until they feel like they've had their questions answered. Um, so, for me, 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes, literally. So I try to, just do what I need. So I'm here to help.
Jane, as always, when we have an interesting guest, time goes by so fast. I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. And Exonation, if you'd like to contact Mary Jane Allen for a private one-on-one consultation, her website is maryjallen.com. That's MaryJallen.com. And her Facebook page is facebook.com/Mary.J.Allen.100. I'll be back on the other side of this break as the X Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
I've been needing to tell you, I've got this feeling that won't subside. Don't wish it away, don't look at it like it's forever. Between you and me, I could honestly say that things can only get better. And while I'm away, dust out the demons inside, and it won't be long before you and me run the place in our hearts where we hide. And I guess that's why they call it the blue.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. And unfortunately, we had to terminate our call with Mary Jane Allen early because of the communications issues that we were having. Apparently, there is a storm happening where she is. And what we will do is we will bring Mary Jane back on in the future when we know that there are clear skies and that the winds are and the gods are saying, all right, to this medium, go back on the X Zone. So what I'm going to do now, a couple of months ago, our chief engineer said, Rob, why don't you play a couple of your best clips that you have in the X Zone library since you've been doing this for so long. Play us one of your clips, and let the listeners know that, it's not all doom and gloom. It's, we're not all about the end of the world, that we do have fun here on the X Zone, and we have had a lot of fun over the years. So what I would like to do right now to give you an example of some of the fun that we've had is play a clip. Now, just imagine you want to have some fun with a psychic. This is called a prank psychic phone call.
Hello.
Yes. Is this the Reverend Jordine, God-gifted problem solver and medicine man?
Yes, it is.
My name is Gilbert Narley, Gnarley.
Yes.
And I'm very glad I reached you because I have an emergency.
How can I help you?
Well, last night, see, I was watching TV. I don't know if you saw it. It was that special tribute to the Partridge Family's Danny Bonaducci.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorites. Anyway, my lottery number came up on the screen.
Your what?
My lottery number. And, at first I didn't believe it, but then I realized that those were the numbers that I play every week.
Well, brother, how can I help you?
Well, I can't find the ticket. And I was calling you because I think you're a psychic and you do voodoo curses and psychic stuff.
I'm a psychic, yeah.
I was wearing my blue coat. I know that when I bought the ticket. And you know the one I'm talking about, the blue coat with the brass buttons with the anchors on them?
Yes, I do.
Yes, yeah, that's the one I wear. Yeah, I knew you would know that. See, okay, now, I think I put that ticket in the jacket breast pocket, but I cannot find the jacket, see?
Yeah.
And I always hang the jacket on the rack in the front hall. So that I can't find it.
Listen, I think I can help you.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Okay, but first you're going to need to do something for me, okay?
So I'll be more than anything.
You're going to need to send me your name and your address, and you're going to need to send me a money order. I don't want cash, no, okay? I don't want cash.
No cash, you
okay.
just... You
send
want
me a money order for
money
two.
order.
Send me a money order for
I can get that in the drugstore.
Yeah, send me a money order for two. No, wait a minute. How much did you say you were going to win in this?
Oh, I could win upwards of over $100,000.
Okay. Now, I tell you what I'm going to...
Oh, wait a minute. Now, see, the only problem is we would not be able to do this because, see, I've got to have that lottery ticket by noon tomorrow, and I don't have time to send you anything. You're just going to have to trust me.
I can't help you until I get the money.
Well... Yeah, I realize because, this is a business. And, I mean, you do this, your God-given talent, you must... I'll tell you, I don't understand why I can't find it either, It could have been my maid. I have this wonderful lady who is a house lady that helps me out. She's Portuguese or Siamese or something like that. She doesn't speak any English, and she moves my things around all the time. I was thinking maybe she may have misplaced my jacket. She's such a strange lady. Even when she irons, she doesn't iron clothes. What she does is she'll take your pants or your coat or something, and to iron it, she puts it between the box springs and the mattress of the bed. She's a wonderful lady, but I thought she may have put it in the closet, or I thought she might have put it somewhere in the house, or maybe packed it with my winter clothes, but I looked through all that, and it's just nowhere to be found.
Okay, now you tell me you have to have this ticket by tomorrow.
Yeah, I've got to have it by noon tomorrow.
Okay, now I run a business here.
I understand that.
I don't have any other way of supporting myself.
I understand that,
and therefore I need to have income. You understand?
I understand that to pay for the phone lines and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I've got to have some kind of...
What if I would be glad to split this with you if you would help me find the ticket. I know there's no other way but to do it this way.
I think that would be marvelous. I think that would be...
Okay, you have my word. And listen, I would split this with you if we found this ticket.
Possibly I can help you.
Okay.
Possibly.
Okay. Where should I look?
You say your maid puts these things, your clothes, right? In between the mattress and the springs, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, did you look there?
No, I didn't look. I've looked everywhere.
Well, why don't you go look?
Let me go. Can you hold on here?
Sure.
I'm going to come right back. It's just in the next room, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, joy! Oh, wonderful! This is great! I can't believe it! I found it! Oh! Reverend Jardine?
Yes, sir. Yes.
It wasn't there.
Oh.
No,
wait
it wasn't there.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I heard you.
What?
I heard you say that you found it. You were
Well, no, no, you know what?
What was?
I was seeing when I was in there. See, I just remembered what I was going to have for lunch. Pimento cheese sandwiches. I love pimento cheese, and I always get very happy when I remember I'm going to have pimento cheese sandwich for lunch. But no, I guess I didn't found it. But thanks a lot for the help.
I don't think you're playing fair with me. I don't think this is proper.
Well, I wish I'd found it. I really wish I had. Well, I got to go have my pimento cheese for lunch now. It's been real nice talking to you. Okay, no, I really didn't find it. I wish I had. Gee whiz, okay.
And there we have it, a psychic prank phone call. Every time I listen to that, I just can't help myself to smile and have a good couple of chuckles. Now, the next song I'd like to play is written and produced and as well as performed by Michael Horn. Now, Michael Horn is the the North American media representative for the Billy Meyer Society. Billy Meyer is a gentleman in Switzerland who has had contact with the Pleiadians, he claims. And he has a growing number of followers. In fact, there are those who actually believe that the Billy Meyer Society is a cult. So this is Michael Horn. He's a great guy. He loves life. He loves the planet. And what he wants to do is make a difference. So this is Michael Horn's song entitled Earth Changes.
Earth changes, you're cracking me up. I'm starting to hear about all sorts of weird stuff. It's the bombs, it's the comets, it's the dark days upon us. So say the folks who all quote Nostradamus. Earth changes, oh prophets of doom. It sounds like disaster is your favorite tune. If it makes you feel better, get it out of your system and tell us about the next big cataclysm. Okay, the poles they will shift and volcanoes will bellow. LA's gonna disappear, New York turn to jello. There'll be tidal waves, earthquakes, fissures and crashes. The earth's gonna be screaming, we can all kiss my axis goodbye. Earth changes. If it's like they said, then there's no use hiding out under your bed. But don't get depressed and run off to the bottle. The earth's trying to tell us it's time to remodel. Earth changes. Let's greed will be nifty and house up our peace for a big polar shifty. A whole lot more love and a big dose of patience. Coming alive to the joys of creation. Earth changes, and so can we. For all of the changes are in you and me. With so much sweet love, is it really surprising? A new earth is dawning upon the horizon. Earth changes. Earth changes. Earth changes. Earth changes. Earth changes.
And there we have Michael Horn's Earth Changes. That song it says it all, and we really have to take care of this planet. Unfortunately, industry, greed, industrialism, wars have taken its toll on Mother Earth. And we all need to do our share in keeping this planet alive, bringing it back to good health, because this planet is going to be the only place our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren will know as home. And we owe it to them. We owe it to each other to take the very best care of Mother Earth as we can. I'll be back on the other side of this break as hour number 2 starts here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. As I said, we had to cut short the interview we had with Mary J. Allen because of communication issues, but we'll get her back. And if you'd like to visit her online, visit her website at maryjallen.com. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell. You're listening to us on the X Zone Broadcast Network and on Classic 1220 CFAJ AM in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, streaming at classic1220.ca.